Folks, don't adjust your YouTube channel. Don't change the channel. Don't opt out of anything or unsubscribe. Big man on campus. This is the Odds Couple. And yes, Jeff, big acquisition this morning, late last night. A deal to purchase the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel. So it's going to be me and you on here all day long, 24/7, each and every day, Jeff. How about it? Love it. Love it.
You know, we put our money together. We said, you know what? Only thing we want to buy is Sportsbook Review.
Yep.
We acquired it last night, so everybody else is gone. It's only us, and we're taking care of it today. We're breaking it all down.
I mean, Jeff, look at the last 4 weeks of ROI that we've put together between us in Major League Baseball. It was enough to purchase the entire company in Costa Rica, Jeff.
Well, you know, you did a great job. I've been winning a little bit too. So yeah, I mean, got to put good money to use, Donnie.
No, and just absolutely, we're just joking around here. Pete had a little bit of trouble getting in time. So, Jeff, I mean, Zach walks in like he's a major league manager going out to the mound, hits the bullpen relief, and we're here at a moment's notice. We don't even have any warm-up time here. No, look at me. I'm in a T-shirt, scrambled the hair around, was able to get a quick shave. I know you were over there just getting ready for the show, prepping. We don't even have any notes. We're on the fly today, baby.
No, I woke up, about 10 o'clock, and I was asked, hey, can you guys fill in? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, Donnie, at this point in the baseball season, we pretty much have most of the info. I mean, it's not like we have to, delve into nothing new, really. I mean, it's all there. So we'll fill in for Loshak. I know he's traveling, I believe. So we're here. Hopefully we can do as well as he does.
Absolutely. Been a lot of fun. I mean, again, just popping on here. I finally just got into the YouTube channel, a little bit scrambled up here. Jeff, we do have a decent baseball card today, but let's hit some of the topics that took place over the weekend. It's rare that we get the spot where we're the first faces on Monday morning getting ready to go. I know on Friday, big news dropped down on the Ezekiel Elliott case, Jeff. Looks like he's not even going. So that 6-game suspension might honestly be the first 6 games of the season here.
Yeah, again, this story kind of went dry after the show on Friday. I mean, a lot of other things came up, and this was kind of second fiddle. But, yeah, I mean, look, we talked about the issues that they're going to have without him in there. But, again, I mean, he has his right to appeal. He'll do that. And, if it's any indication, the Tom Brady saga, I mean, how long did that last, Donnie? 2 years, it seemed like?
Yeah.
We'll see. But, again, for me we all know it's going to hurt them. The question is, how much is it going to hurt them? Is he even going to be suspended? Is it going to be lower? We'll see. But again, look, I mean, we talked about it Friday. You can't continue to do things. And again, I know he wasn't criminally, he didn't do anything criminally wrong, but you can't continue to do things and get away with it. Your employer at some point going to step in and make something happen.
Yeah, Jeff, line movement there a little bit. Obviously, it's hovering on that Sunday night game, 8:30 p.m. on the 10th of September, -3.5. Looks like you can get pretty much across the board. You know me, Jeff. I'm full of contrarian value, which brings me up to my next topic, which, again, if you're not looking at it, football's right on the horizon for us. Me and Jeff talked quite at length behind the scenes yesterday. Jeff, talk a little bit about the Florida game with the suspensions coming up versus Michigan and maybe finding some contrarian value in that line also.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk yesterday about the 7 people suspended for Florida in that first game against Michigan. And I know Michigan fans will discuss how they're going to win this game because Antonio Callaway's not playing. That's a huge loss for Florida. Look, let's be real. I mean, he's probably their best offensive player. But the other 6 players that were suspended don't regularly play. People need to stop reading into this and thinking that Florida's not going to have anyone. They still have Jordan Scarlett. They still have plenty of receivers. At the end of the day, that line actually went the other way. That is a clear, Donnie, the public's going to get crushed in that game, I feel like. They're going to see all these players suspended. I mean, it seemed like every person yesterday was talking about that. That's going to be a big GOAT line, as you would say. You look at it like Cowboys lines. That might hurt the public too. We talked about it, Donnie, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
The line was at, I think it was at 4.
Yeah, I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to look at these games now. On that, I think it's down. I think
the line went down to 3.
4 at this. Is it? Okay, gotcha.
So it's like it's going the opposite way of what it should be. I'm going to look to go Florida in that game. I think the public's really going to buy into all the suspensions. But at the end of the day, there's only one suspension that really matters. And at the end of the day, really, Michigan lost 10 players on defense last year. They lost their best receivers last year, their best tight end. They have a quarterback who we can argue is decent. He's not great. I think that's going to be a low-scoring, last possession kind of game. Should Michigan win? Yes, but I think people are really looking in way too much to 7 people getting suspended when one actually is the only one that plays.
Yeah, no. And again, welcome everybody into the chat box. Not your normal odds couple show here. Obviously, it is Pete's show. We're just filling in today. Drew Martin tied up as well. I believe Drew Martin is still in the United States. Is that correct? In the ATL?
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to him.
Pictures floating around with him and his wife picking the ATL, having late, nice dinners there and relaxing. So enjoy it to both of them. But again, if you're just tuning in, it's not a repeat. This isn't a show that, we just had to put on from a month ago that we're just replaying. Me and Jeff today are going to host the odds couple. We'll spin it around a little bit for you, try to carry this time slot here and have a little bit of fun. Baseball is on the docket, but again, a lot is going on here, obviously within the United States and also within the sporting realm, but just trying to catch up on a few things, both my monitors here. So Jeff, Major League Baseball today, you want to talk about last night? Your New York Yankees should have had this one in the bag. Vegas was counting their money, a ton of sharps. The New York Yankees yesterday, the public annihilating the Boston Red Sox last night. Vegas took one right on the chin last night, Jeff.
Well, Vegas took one on the chin in a lot of games yesterday. The public was big winners yesterday. I mean, you look at all the games, that they won. I mean, it seemed like an NFL Sunday last year. I mean, it seemed like every public game was coming in. Indians won. Houston won. Boston won. Scherzer won. Scherzer in the run line won. Scherzer in the run line was brutal. Books took one on the chin there. I mean, that one should not have came in and ended up coming in. The Twins won yesterday. They were a public side. The Dodgers hit the run line. They were a public side. A lot of public teams came in last night. But, yeah, the Yankees was a bad loss. This is another bad loss in the history of bad losses for the Yankees, and it's always – we're always talking about how good their bullpen is and how they're so dominating. And at the end of the day, Aroldis Chapman continues to struggle. I mean, I don't know how many times we had to say that. I got to tell you, he
had gas last night, though, man. 103-mile-an-hour fastballs. I mean, that young kid putting that out there. Actually, last night, Jeff, the ninth inning was one of the better innings I've actually seen Aroldis Chapman look. Great command, immense velocity on the fastball. A lefty taking him out, Oppo, it was incredible. 103-mile-an-hour fastball, opposite field home run. What a piece of hitting.
Last night wasn't exactly – that was one of the nice pieces of hitting in a game that has had horrible pieces of hitting. I mean, on both sides. I mean, both teams really puts together some really hideous at-bats. But, look, the Yankees continue to have problems scoring runs. I mean, Aaron Judge is lost right now. He's – that home run derby, ever since then, he's been just a total farce. You look at, most of the players in the – I mean, there's no one that you really count on anymore for this team. Donnie, you look at this Yankee lineup. I mean, what guy do you look at other than maybe like Didi and one or two others? They're just irritating right now. Their bullpen is
a bunch of names in the bullpen. They got to get it done now,
Right? Right. And you look at the most blown saves, and they're up towards the top at that point. So, yeah, it's a bad loss. And now you got to go tonight with Sessa. That's probably a loss. You had games here that you should have won that you really could have made some ground up in the AL East. And in that wild card, look, I mean, they're right there. There's like 7 teams vying to get them out, and it's I think 2 or 3 games between the two. So, and
by the way, Jeff, waking up this morning, looking at that wild card field. Correct me if I'm wrong, but now the Los Angeles Angels have now crept into that second spot in the wild card. Is that correct?
Yeah, they are. They're number 2, and
that's amazing.
We talked about Scioscia's keeping them around 500, which is impressive. I mean, we have to talk about the fact that they have no starters. I mean, their rotation's bad. I mean, really bad. I mean, they could have the worst, like, name-wise rotation in the major leagues. I mean, there's nothing there. And they're still right in that wild card. Their offense has been really impressive. Their bullpen has been better than advertised. Mike Trout is obviously playing extremely well. And yes, they're a half a game up on the Angels in the wild card.
It's amazing, especially with Mike Trout. What was he out? 40 games. You've lost just about every starting pitcher that you had. You don't even really have that great of quality of starting pitching. The bullpen is okay. But I mean, we always talk about managers that you would like to have, managers that you don't want to have. Mike Scioscia always comes up in the plus category for me as he just gets it. You know what I mean?
No, he's a really good coach. I feel like, at one point I felt like maybe he had worn his welcome out there, but he's really one of the better coaches around. Sessa's a loss. The Yankees will be big favorites against Montero. Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna make the Yankees favorites over the Mets. What is that line? I think it just came out.
Wow, 180. I got 180 at Chris, 176, and 176 at Bet Online. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I wouldn't lay 180 with Sessa against anybody, but we'll get to that game, I'm sure. Bridwell, Bridwell's pitched really well. He's been their saving grace. And how about that? I mean, you take a shot on one of these kids down in Double-A, and it ends up working for you. Bridwell's been really good.
Yeah, no, we'll pick out a couple of these Major League Baseball games. Probably not the best card to go over, but there are some interesting aspects, Jeff. The one that really, really piqued my interest last night late when the lines came out, rotation 919, 920, that Houston-Arizona line. How rare is it, Jeff, to see a line open up as a plus 140 for the Astros? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's rare that Houston is actually an underdog or a pick'em, if that, right, other than getting 140 tonight.
Well, it's a combination of a lot of things. They're not playing well. Greinke's been fantastic. They've been really good at home, and McHugh has been bad. I mean, since in his 4 starts, he's been poor. So, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that should be more or less like 130. I don't know if it should be 150, but there's a lot of things right now going against the Astros. And Donnie, I mean, I guess we should get excited, though. They did sign Tyler Clippard, I believe. So that's something to get excited about if you're an Astros fan.
Maybe that's why it was 140 overnight. Maybe it was a pick'em game, and the minute Clippard came over, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ,
Yeah, I don't know what they just seem to be doing everything wrong with what you should be doing around the trade deadline and thereafter. I mean, Clippard, has anyone watched him this year? I mean, with the White Sox, with the Yankees, it's just, right now, I think that's, to me, that's a Diamondback line there. I think people will think a lot like you are, Donnie, and say, they're never an underdog like that. I got to take them tonight. I mean, it's a coin flip probably, right?
You're absolutely right.
Not. I mean, we can argue and say that it is a coin flip, but it's not. I mean, Greinke's a way better pitcher. Arizona's a way better team. I do want to know, Donnie, and if someone's a Diamondback fan or they're close to this group, I would love to know. I would really like to know, how many times have the Diamondbacks actually used a correct lineup? I mean, honestly.
A full go lineup, yeah.
Yep. Night, there's someone out. Every night. How many days off do you need? I mean, this team needs to, at the end of the day, figure it out. I mean, you're in the mix here. You're obviously a playoff team. At what point are we going to see your lineup night after night? Every other day, someone's resting, someone's out. You need to make it happen, Lavelle. I mean, at what point are we going to – you've seen that, Donnie, right?
Yeah, no, I picked up a win over the Chicago Cubs when was it Greinke? Who was on the mound for Corbin was on the mound. Was absolutely sensational in the last game that I bet Arizona over the Chicago Cubs. 6-0 game. That was the one where Rodney came in and just decided to give up like 4 straight, 2 out, 2 strike hits to try to make it a little bit of a sweat in that game. But that game, Jeff, even though that wasn't a full go lineup, I believe they sat Lamb that night. Cubs. So yeah, I'm waiting on it as well because we all. Once JD Martinez came over, said, man, the absolute production of 1 through 8 on the Diamondbacks, there's not an easy out in that lineup. But you're right. I mean, saving them for down the stretch, doing this, doing that. You're right. I want to see them full go 1 through 8 where they really put the pressure on somebody.
I mean, every night it's Rosales or Mathis or Daniel Descalso. There's always some kind of hitch in this lineup. 901, 902, Blotch Conley. I'm looking over in that game. Look, I think, Miami's a team that's you're starting to score some runs, starting to win some games here. We know their lineup's pretty good at the end of the day. Blotch, not a guy I'm really looking to bet on the road. He's had some trouble on the road this year. And Conley's a guy that I'm looking to fade too. Both these pitchers are guys that I don't really want to back. Two bullpens I'm not really interested in either. Long game last night actually a long day last night for the San Francisco Giants. Doubleheader, had an extra inning game in game 2. 11 of 16 in the series have gone over. At 8.5, Donnie, I'm going to look to go over in this game. I think a lot of relievers were used yesterday. I think we're going to see some runs here. I think 8.5 is a little too low.
Yeah, another game I'm really looking at that I'm going to be circling. There's a couple games that have some decent, prognosis, if you would say, from what I like to look at. Another one, Jeff, is 9-13, 9-14, Kansas City and Oakland with Jarrell Cotton on the mound. 23% of the tickets early coming in only for the Oakland Athletics and about 10% of the money. However, that line opened up at about a pick 'em, Jeff. Right now, Pinnacle, you can get 122 on Oakland, 117 at BetOnline, 115 at 5 Dimes. One of those little sneaky type games, which we always look for in the Oakland Coliseum. Yesterday, Oakland banged out a nice win over the Orioles. They're a tough little team when they're at home. Cotton, not a guy I usually like to back, but line movement would help me out in that situation. I think Oakland might be a play, something I'm going to take a look at as the day goes on to watch those tickets pile up.
Yeah. Kansas City not playing well. Junis isn't a guy I'm looking to back. I think you might have a good one there. Cotton is a little bit more reliable than I think Jake Junis is. 2 for me. Why are the Cubs minus 205 against Cincinnati? Quintana sucks. Yeah, but Wojciechowski sucks even more. So, plus
Reds ain't the Reds, that's road team, man.
Yeah, they can't hit lefties either. They're like 9-24 against lefties. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Cubs are the play there. I wouldn't lay 200 with them, but Quintana is much better than Wojciechowski. I'm going to look 909, 910, Donnie. Your prototypical one here. Rays going on the road, open 130. This one's down near Pick'em. Odorizzi against Tepish. We know where the public's betting. Why is the line going down 30 cents? Tepish is the play here, isn't it?
You probably would think. Let me just get a quick the 50-50 check line on there. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're looking just on banking a line, and who's going to back Tepish? You know what I mean? Like Tepish is on the mound. You're crazy. I'm not backing him. That's why you would want to take a look at that game, see some lineups. Hey, if Toronto's a full-go lineup at home, they're going to be able to hit. And Tampa Bay hasn't exactly been setting Jeff the world on fire at the plate. Even though their lineup actually looks good, that line's certainly an indicator of going Toronto at this point.
Yeah, and again, I mean, some of the guys in the chat, Cotton is fucking horrible. Again,
exactly.
It's not about whether they're good or bad. It's about when you set a line, why is the line going the other way? It's kind of like in the Michigan game. The line opened 4, sat at 4. We heard about all these suspensions coming down for Florida, and you would think all the money's coming in on Michigan, but the line goes down. Shouldn't be going down. It should be going up, not down. It's hard to, you got to look into some of these lines. I mean, there's a reason that the lines are set the way they are. And yeah, is Woj or is Quintana and these guys bad? Sure. Is Cotton bad? Yeah, but at the end of the day, Junis isn't much better. I mean, let's be honest. Big man, I know it's only one game, but did Juventus trade away the defense? Look, they still have Chiellini, they still have Barzagli, they still have Buffon. Bonucci, clearly. Danny Alves, yeah. I mean, look, unfortunately, that's what happens, Donnie. I mean, in any sport, trades happen. You have to go out and get money. You have to go out and make money. The transfer window is there in football. Obviously, we see what Neymar got, and we see what people are getting. I mean, Donnie, Neymar's earning like £1 a second. It's pretty unbelievable. So look, sometimes you got to sell your players. Sometimes you get younger and make money. Juventus will be fine. That game didn't even count for the season. It was a cup game. The season starts on Saturday. So no, Burns, I'm not that worried about that right now. Couple more, Donnie. Teheran and Bettis, pretty interesting game here. Bettis' first game back since his cancer, which another amazing feat here. Good for Chad Bettis to come back here and be able to pitch. I'm going to look to Teheran in this game. I mean, Teheran has been a farce on the road. I mean, he has been much better than at home. SunTrust Park has been a world of horrors for him, but on the road, he's been very good in 11 games. 8-2 with a 3.71 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. So, been pretty good. You look at his numbers, though, in Coors, he's I don't think ever pitched there. Actually, I'm sorry, he has pitched there. He's 4-1 with a 2.53 ERA in his career against Colorado, but Colorado's won 12 of 14 against the Braves. So, do you have anything on this game, Don?
That's to me, if you're looking at early line indicators, they're only 26% are back in the road team Atlanta Braves here, Jeff, but 58% of the money, obviously drawing at Chris, -155 down to -131. If that game were to start in 5 minutes, Jeff, I'd be all over the Atlanta Braves right now. Honestly, I would.
Yeah, I think
Stone cold Atlanta line.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, again, I don't like to, pile on Bettis, but it's not a great spot for him. I mean, he's got to get back into like the swing of things a little bit. Atlanta's a team that does some pop in that lineup. Arizona run line says Godson Johns. I don't know about that. Listen,
I mean, it's hard because Greinke's going to give you an honest effort out there, but we've all seen Houston, getting that value inning 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. It's interesting because, again, just line reading there, Houston getting that number is the same way me and Jeff just pointed out, saying, wait a minute. Because we talk about, Jeff, when you see Houston -120, saying, oh, my God, there's value there. Just take Houston because it's only -120. Now you're getting almost $1.50 back on Houston. Well, I don't really care a damn who's pitching in that game. I'm just going to lay it down because I'm getting plus money. So just be aware of that because obviously watching Greinke pitch, Jeff, his typical game, 7 innings, 2, maybe 3 earned runs. So you better be packing late in that bullpen there to save this game. But again, just seeing 148, 150, 143, 143 out there, very interesting there in Houston.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I think a lot of people are going to look at that line, like we said, and say, wow, I can get Houston at plus 140. That seems like a really good play. I know Greinke's pitching, but when do we ever get this kind of number? Yep. That's a stone cold Arizona line. We're mixing everything in here. Jose, Real to win La Liga. Yes. Donnie, I know you don't do much in the way of soccer, but obviously Real Madrid very much on the TV this morning. Cristiano Ronaldo suspended 5 games for pushing a ref yesterday, which I was watching live. It was pretty funny. Very small push, but again, can't do that in any sport. Look, I don't want to lay any future where I have to lay money, but Real Madrid's the best team in the world. With Ronaldo, they're light years better than everyone else, I think. Yeah, look, they should win their league, but I'm not really in the business of laying money on a future. I'm looking to get it back. What's the low-hanging fruit? I guess we will have to give one of those, Donnie, or I'll give one of those just because Low Shack's not there.
The low-hanging fruit, I guess, would be a little bit easier. I saw Robbins say low-hanging fruit could possibly be the Mets. I don't think a plus 160 is actually low-hanging fruit by definition, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I would say, though, with the point on the Mets, I think if you like the Mets, first 5 is the play there. I mean, really, because you look at bullpens, Yankees with a much better bullpen, we could say on paper. I don't really want, that could very well be a 3-2 game, coming out of 5 innings and the Yankees end up getting a run or 2 and winning the game because of their bullpen. What's so funny, Donnie?
No, just read Robbins said, what's a low-hanging vegetable? Because I guess it's, trademark that Pete uses low-hanging fruit, so we'll go vegetable.
So we'll go low-hanging vegetable. Yeah, but again, to answer the question on the Mets, I would go Mets first 5 there. Cessa has no business laying this kind of number. None. 0. And some of the Yankee struggles right now. I mean, Donnie, a coin flip. Who are you taking, Montero or Cessa?
I don't know. The Mets, Jeff, I mean, the one thing that you're looking at in this game, obviously it's a high number. I get it versus Cessa, but the Mets really have that white flag raised up. I know you can't take a lot about beating the Philadelphia Phillies because the Philadelphia Phillies are god-awful, probably the worst team in Major League Baseball. The Mets giving away Walker, trading away, a good portion of their team. Who knows who's going to play tonight? It's in an American League ballpark, so the Yankees are built for this, whereas maybe you might get a Brandon Nimmo as your DH tonight or a Flores as a DH. I don't know so much as just taking that coin flip and saying, I'm going to take the Mets here because they can get it done. It's clear, Jeff, if this game, I wouldn't even take, actually, no, you're right on that. The Mets first 5, if you're taking the Mets and all is the right play, because regardless of how the Yankees bullpen is performing, you would agree, Jeff, there's a massive disconnect between the Yankees bullpen and the New York Mets bullpen today. So you're right. If you're taking the Mets, first 5.
Yeah, agree totally. Interesting one here, Tigers-Rangers. This totals went up to 11. You got Michael Fulmer on the hill. I mean, that's an interesting total. A lot of runs there to be scored. I know Martin Perez isn't exactly a guy you want to back, but Fulmer's been fairly good this year. He struggled a little bit lately, gave up 6 runs in his last outing, but maybe a first 5 under there. You're probably going to get 5.5 or 6. I don't know. Just kind of what I was looking at. You're going to need a lot of runs from Martin Perez that he's going to give up, I think, to hit that total. But you have 2 bad bullpens, which is kind of the problem. It's a tough card. Not a lot of games, not a lot of stuff to really get excited about. But I think the 2 that are kind of jumping out to me would be I like Toronto a little bit. But, guys, again, it's 10:57 in the morning. You have a lot of line movement here to go before we get to these games. So, again, I could very well at the end of the day say at 6:30, Donnie, I like the Rays. But right now, if you ask me, I like the Blue Jays. I like the Braves. And I'm looking a little bit at taking the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, no, my games that I'll be taking a look at today as the day moves on would be Atlanta, Colorado, Jeff, Houston, Arizona. I'm going to look at Kansas City, Oakland. I'm going to look at Baltimore, Seattle. And one that might even crop up, Jeff, while we're on the late night of campus tonight, that Philadelphia, San Diego game. Some decent line movement in the way of the Padres. I like that Padres lineup. We've all seen it, Jeff, playing an East Coast game the day before, albeit it was an afternoon game, flying out to the West Coast and playing that West Coast team in their environment there. Maybe San Diego might be a decent play in this one.
Yeah, people definitely don't like the Phillies on the road. No one likes Eichhoff, but I don't think many people like Wood either. I hear you on that. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think the Padre lineup's a little bit better than the Phillies, better bullpen as well. Tepish is scaring bad, BMOC. Yeah, I don't care about who's pitching. It's about the line. The line doesn't make any sense, and that's why I'm taking it. Tepish will be fine tonight. I'm sure he'll go 5. Give up 1 run, and everyone.
Yeah, how about the young kid that was on? Was it Rowley that was on the mound? Same thing. Like, what are we going to get from this kid? Kid went out and had a great performance. And again, it's Tepish at home as opposed to Tepish on the road too.
And that line smelled on Saturday. We talked about it right before it started here on the show.
I like Pittsburgh too. So yeah, give big man credit on that one.
The line didn't make any sense. Williams has been great. Why is it an even money game against a guy that's never pitched in the major leagues before? So for me, I think it was the right side. Donnie, a lot of other things going on. Clearly, a lot of talk about things going on in the world from a political perspective on sports right now. You have people sitting for the national. That stuff is started up again. But we had some preseason yesterday. Quickly, any thoughts that you saw out of? I know you chatted and watched that up a little bit. Did you end up watching any of that?
I saw one pass last night and wanted to throw up in my mouth and change right back to the Yankees game last night, Jeff.
Yeah, I know you're not a big fan of preseason. I did want to tell you, Donnie, Philip Walker played yesterday for the Colts. Our friend.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. I only know him as PJ, Jeff. Yes, correct.
He was sacked 3 times, and he was 9 for 20.
Boy, does he miss Sharga picking up the blitz, huh?
Yes, I guess, he didn't have a lot of success. 2 rushes for 11 yards, an ugly day. You look at the 3 quarterbacks for the Colts, my God. Stephen Morris, Philip Walker, and Scott Tolzien.
Definitely. No. Yeah, I mean, again, thanks for tuning in, guys, on this live chat box here, keeping it interesting. We did peak, Jeff, over 100 people, so obviously some people digging in and liking the show on the odds couple. Pete's going to be back, from what I understand, tomorrow morning. Not really sure when Drew's going to get back, but I assume that's going to be quickly as well. Major League Baseball card, a lot to watch over as the day goes on. Hopefully it might have helped you out in a little bit of morning capping there, but it was nice, man. Have your coffee with us here, relax. And, me, I'm a big Monster guy. I know a lot of people were checking out the back cooler there. It is a little bit low. Had to rate it over the weekend. It's what happens, man. I'm getting older. I need a little bit more caffeine in the morning for me, big man.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You guys lean more towards the spread or totals for football? I'm more of a spread guy, but I mix them both in. College is
yeah, we mix them. Yep.
Guys,
I have NFL totals. I'm not a real big NFL total guy, by the way.
I understand. Yeah, me either. Guys, I have a busy day here at SPR. I do the show here today with Donnie. I also have 2 soccer shows coming up. We'll talk Champions League, which is tomorrow. We'll also talk about what went on over the weekend and what we can look forward to in week 2 of the domestic European leagues. And later tonight, Donnie, 10 o'clock Eastern, we have the late night on campus. We'll discuss everything going on in the world, NFL, MLB. We'll talk a little fantasy with Ryan, who I believe will discuss some of the things with the trades that went on and Ezekiel Elliott and all sorts of stuff. So a busy day for me. Donnie, have a great day. We'll see you back later on the right side of camp.
The odds couple, big man and Donnie.